Excellent. Here we go.
Got it.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Untethered Talk with Robin and Jen. We switched up the name because we're going to start making this a podcast, even though, as I said last week, the other name was better. Name. Had alliteration, it had rhyming, it was great.
It did. How do I turn the sound down? Wait a minute. Why is this? I want to turn this. I opened it, right? But I don't want to hear it. I want to be able to see it. If people comment, we can respond to their comments, but I don't want to hear it. So I can't. I was trying to unmute it and it wasn't muting. There it is. I got it. I got it. All right.
Okay. So welcome, Robin. How are you doing?
I'm good. I think I'm a little what's the word? There's a little bit of like, I'm interested in poking the bear today. Like it's not so I'm trying to figure out the word. It's not argumentative because it's not that level of, but there's a little bit of like prickliness. Like I'm really like, I'm sort of like playing devil's advocate a little bit today. There's a little bit of negative pleasure going on of like, yeah. So,
I get it. That's the first pleasure of like just screwing with someone.
And not just screwing with someone to screw with someone, but there's a little bit of like, are you sure thing that I had. Like I've really questioned a whole bunch of people saying things to me today that I just was like, nope. Poking a little bit.
Oh yeah, no, I just experienced that a second ago.
Exactly. You know exactly what I'm talking about because I just did it to you. I was like, that's just no.
That's funny because it's kind of I was discussing earlier on Untethered Fridays. I was discussing, and this is kind of applied to our conversation today, self-sabotage and the perverse pleasure I get in screwing myself over. And it's not even like poking the bear. It's like, guess what?
Well, I read somebody posted something recently that said she was talking about self-sabotage is a way to actually perpetuate the illusion of control. Because if you self-sabotage, you have a predicted outcome, and that actually gives you the safety and security of control.
Interesting. That is
She said it and I went it was really powerful. I was like, oh, that's true. Yeah. So
but back in the 90s when everybody had a catchphrase. So self-sabotage, when I was discussing it, and I was like, I'm going to talk to Robin about this because my contention was that if you have like self-love, if you have enough self-love, you're not going to sabotage yourself. Because I do get, I mean, as much as that rings true, the control thing, I also really enjoy hurting myself sometimes.
I think it's a both. I think it's both, and I think it gets back to that when you do have enough self-love, you're not trying so hard for control. Because there's a level of self-trust that happens.
All right, so guys, the reason as we're segueing, because my segues are so
absolutely
and as we're segueing into the subject for today, if you've been watching, you know that we've been doing a series on self-love. Originally it was in the build up to my wedding to myself, but then we moved the wedding to myself twice, and now it's in March, so that's like a little bit long. So now we're calling it in the build up to Valentine's Day.
Sure.
We might do it again next week. We'll see. But just extend it a little bit beyond Valentine's Day.
Well, it's still the same week. It's all the same
week, right? It's just 4 days later.
Yeah.
So self-love and not self-sabotage, but self-love. How do you encourage self-love? We talked about self-care last week.
Right.
Having boundaries and, more than like, pampering in the bathtub. It's more about having boundaries and treating yourself well.
Yes. Well, it's about deciding that you deserve to be considered.
Yes. And well considered. Considered well. yeah, it's yeah. So I just had like 3 different things and they all disappeared. So yeah, so we're talking about how to encourage self-love. We already discussed self-care, but aside from that, I guess we were talking earlier about how this is different from last week. And my thought was like, okay, we talked about self-care, but self-care doesn't necessarily mean self-love. It is a sign of it, or it is working towards it. I mean, like if for someone who doesn't love themselves, right? Treating yourself well, doing whatever is really hard.
Well, I
But
agree. Well, I don't think you can do self-care without self-love. Like I actually don't, I think we were talking about this and I don't think they're different.
okay.
Right. So you were like, I was like, didn't we talk about this already? Because in my world, in my mind, in my world, in my experience, self-love is self-care. Self-care is self-love. They're not different. So we might be splitting hairs on like semantics of the word.
Okay.
But to me, you're not doing self-care. If you don't love yourself, then you're not doing self-care. I don't care how many manicures you're getting. It's not self-care.
That's my point. Like when I was really depressed, I was like, fine, I'll take care of myself. Manicure or whatever the case is, whatever little treat, but I never enjoyed it.
That's not self-care. You can take a tubby. It's still not self-care. Like,
oh my goodness.
Right. So I think unless you have self-love, unless you love yourself or even like yourself a little bit, there is no self-care.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you can go through the motions, but you don't actually care.
Exactly. Because you don't. And so I think that there is no distinction really in terms of self-love and self-care. That's why last week we talked about like boundaries was self-care. It's love, right? I love myself enough to not allow this to continue. But how do you cultivate that is, I mean, I think it starts with, first of all, recognizing the voice in your head that's not necessarily kind at all. Like at all. I had a client this week. It's a brand new client. I've never worked with her. And she was a referral from somebody. And she popped on and she was like that, like it was like a balloon that goes right. And all over the place. And she, she gets flooded with emotions, super empathic. And she very clearly has a level of self-loathing that was, I was like, so I just got really clear and calm. But like, ultimately what we got to with her was she needed to ground. She needed to feel she needed to allow that she had a place to plug into, and then she could, right? So I think self-love is that's the basic level. Like we talk about like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Love is the base. Right?
Yeah. I mean, I hadn't thought of it that way, but absolutely. Like you need self-love in order to take care of yourself.
In order to do anything out, like you can't actually. So we talked about did we talk about it in your class? We talked about it in class last night. Like your first chakra, your body, your root, your world is the container. Mm-hmm. You have to be in your body to have a container. Mm-hmm. So you want to the self-love starts with grounding. It starts with energetically being on the planet. It starts with plugging in. That's the root. You have to be tethered. I know becoming untethered is your thing, but like
it is. It's the name of the show.
Right. So I say that with tongue in cheek, but like becoming untethered to like thoughts and ideas and beliefs is one thing, but like getting into your body that's the first step. If you don't have a container, you can't, you're an untethered balloon. Like you're just,
just all over the place.
Exactly.
Yeah, see, to me, again, semantics. getting into your body. Tethered is like you're tied to it and you're just kind of out here somewhere like, ah, but like inside, this is an experience that I've had recently too, that we've discussed, is that like there has to be room inside for you to be in there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I discovered that there hadn't been, like, just because I cleared enough space for me to actually be like, oh, I'm actually behind here. I'm looking out of my eyes.
Yes, yes, yes.
And that honestly it occurred to me. I was like, I'm inside.
Yeah.
And and I haven't felt that way in a really long time. And it's because I've been doing all this clearing, right? Like, so that's hard to describe to somebody, but to be like, how, I wouldn't even know how to go about doing that.
Well, I think you're right in the talking about the having enough space in your body to be in there. I mean, most of us spend our lives from here up.
Mhm.
I mean, it's just the way the world is sort of designed, right?
Mhm.
So if you're just a head on a stick, there isn't going to be any there isn't going to be any there isn't going to be any there. There isn't going to be any home. There's nobody home.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so shit gets piled up. Like when there's nobody home, all the shit gets like piled up everywhere that you're not paying attention to. It doesn't have a so it kind of requires, you do have to start coming down into your body in order to even be able to start clearing out what's in there to give you space.
Mhm. Mhm.
Right? Like you were able to clear out your energy, Jen, because you've been doing this work of coming home.
That's been a huge thing. It was only recently that I think you said something about home being your body, and I'm like,
Yeah.
that's what I mean whenever I say I want to go home, but I'm at my house.
Right. Yes.
That's what I mean when I say that. Okay. I've been wondering since
Who
I was like,
knew? Right. I want to go home. Right.
I want to go home. I am home. No, you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big realization for me. But
Yeah. It's a big realization. Like I said, it's a big realization for everybody. No,
yeah.
most of us, we live in a first chakra world, right? We live in a world where there's fear and lack and scarcity. I mean, that's just right. So, and we live in the world where most of us have some level of dislike or disapproval of our bodies.
Yeah, at some level.
At some level.
Every single person I know of.
I mean, I don't, but it's right.
Most
So
people.
most people do, right? So they're never ever at home in the vehicle that is here to help them live their purpose.
This is the thing, right? Like, this is the thing. Like, as I've made space and I've come, I'm like, oh, I am just a spirit inside this thing that's called a body.
Right. Right.
I'm a spirit. I'm a spirit, and I just have a body.
Right.
All right.
And we have the perfect body to accomplish the things that we're meant to accomplish.
Yes. Yes.
Right. So if we beat it up or judge it or are harsh to it, we don't have the space to actually do what we're meant to do in the world. And I'm not saying that we don't have to be, we don't want to be healthy. I'm not saying that we shouldn't like have we want to exercise and we want to like have a healthy relationship with our body, of course. But like, we don't need to beat it up because it's not perfect.
Right. Right. And that's hard to do sometimes, not beat it up, or not beat yourself up.
Right.
That's, I mean, that goes along with what we're talking about, right? Like, how does one, if one's habituated to beating oneself up, how does one stop?
Well, like I said, it starts with recognizing that that's what you're doing, right? It really starts with recognizing, the voice in your head that's constantly telling you what's going wrong or what you're doing wrong or what is wrong. Like you gotta stop that. It's like a negative feedback loop, right? So it's like this constant negative feedback loop. You need to put something in the spokes to stop that, right? If you can put something in the spokes, now you can stop the wheel. So something I mean, sometimes I ask the question, what's going right? It's just that simple, right? What's
Yeah.
going right? What in this moment could I be grateful for?
When I like back in the day, I had such a hard time with that.
Yeah.
Like I had such a hard time with that. Like I
Right.
people are like, oh, you'll always have something to be grateful for. I'm like, really? Because even air sucks right now.
So I mean, back when I was back in my dark night, sometimes it was like grateful for having a bed to come home to,
Mhm.
which was not always a given. So there was like what sometimes at one point I was like, I'm so glad that I don't have a dog that could bite me. Like it was so I met myself, I got so simple. I'm so glad I don't have a dog that could potentially bite me this morning. Like it was like, well, I had to search for it, but I searched for it
Mhm.
because I knew there was like a glimmer of hope in it. That every single time I felt expressed gratitude for something, I felt a little bit, just a smidge brighter, right?
Mhm. Right. So
It
start finding something to be grateful for is the first thing.
right.
First.
What's going right?
Mhm.
What's going right? There is always something. You're still here. I'm grateful I'm still alive. And maybe you're not
That
actually
used to be a thing
grateful
for
to
me.
still
Like
be
I'm
still
not that grateful
right.
for that.
Right?
Yeah.
But whatever it is, like I said, I'm sometimes I was having this conversation with a colleague at work once, and she was like, I said, because I used to tease her. She was like sort of like a very much an Eeyore, right? She was like really very right. She was like, I was joy to her sadness, like in the
Yeah,
Inside Out movie,
the
right?
Inside Out movie. I love that movie.
Same, it's such a good movie. And so one day I was like, so what's going right, Marnie? And she was like, something about it had like rained for 4 days in a row and the
Mhm.
sun was shining in that one day. And she's like, well, the sun's out. I was like, fantastic, look at that. And she's like, but I like when it's rains. And I was like, it was
I like
so
the
right, exactly. So it was so perfect. It was so awesome. But like, what she was grateful for the rain, right? Whatever, I don't care what
Yeah.
you start with, but that gratitude of what was right, that makes a huge difference. It really does. And you meet yourself
Yeah.
where you're at with it, right? You meet yourself where
Like,
you're at with
yeah.
it.
Yeah. I did. I remember back in the day, I would do Tony Robbins or whatever and look for but even the stuff that I found, I was just in a place where I wasn't willing to be grateful
Right?
almost.
That's true. That's true. There gets to be this like almost, there's a concept now, revenge insomnia, where you're just going to keep yourself awake because you've had such a busy day, and so you're not going to sleep now because it's the one time you have in the day that's yours,
Mhm.
right? So there's so revenge insomnia. I feel like there's also like a concept of like it's not revenge depression, but it's like revenge morosity, right? It's like I'm just gonna be morose. I'm just gonna be no, right? The
Yeah.
air sucks right now.
Exactly. I'm miserable and that's the way it is.
And that's just fine. Great.
I
Let
like
that
it that way.
and let that be okay. Let that be okay. Right? If you're just completely so annoyed with everything, then just be like, okay, that's where you are right now. And
Mhm.
that gets to be okay. That's self-love.
Mm. Mhm.
That's it.
Mhm.
That
Mhm.
nothing is wrong and there's nothing to fix. Even this like, eh,
Mm.
right. Like that gets to be okay too.
Um, I think that, yeah, I think I hope people hear that because like thinking about it, like the freedom to have that be okay would have
Right.
been very useful.
Exactly.
that would have been something where I was like,
Right.
I
Like
can take that
I
up
have clients tell me all the time. They come back with like they'll tell me stuff. They'll be like, "This is blah 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 blah," and I'm always like, "Great, I had one client, I had one client actually say to me, if you fucking say great to me again, I'm gonna throat punch you. Like she was so mad at me. And I was like, that's okay. Right? Like,
Sick.
that's fantastic. Like we're getting somewhere, right? Like I really have worked very hard, and this is the work I teach now, is that like there really is nothing like everything is okay. Every emotion, every experience, everything is okay. Our job is to just give permission to it. Right?
Mm-hmm. 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 I mean, I see that.
Okay.
I see that, but there are certainly things that aren't okay.
But that's not true.
What you talk about?
In your lifetime,
Mm-hmm.
the very worst things that have happened
Mm-hmm.
moved you forward in some way.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
I guess what I'm kind of thinking about more is like what I do.
Okay. So again, you get the choice to how you want to talk to yourself, how you want to be with yourself, how do you want to feel? So it's okay that you beat yourself up,
Mm-hmm.
but is that absolutely going to get you someplace?
No, and I mean honestly, people like the stuff I beat myself up over is like kind of silly. Like,
Well, I mean, most of it. I mean, for most of us, the gremlin voice is silly.
But what if there's like a douchebag? Like, what if you're a douchebag and you do horrible things all the time?
I mean, I had an experience recently where was I in a healing or a meditation? Oh, it was a meditation. We were doing a bus trip. It was a bus trip. So I was meeting my lower self. I was meeting my shadow selves.
Mm-hmm.
And on my bus was every single dictator evil person that has ever lived on the planet.
Let's explain what the bus thing is.
Okay, well, okay. So I do shadow work. So in shadow work, there is your lower self is just a part of who you are. But what happens is we judge our lower selves and it gets put in shadow. That's the judgment, that's the pieces, those are the unconscious parts of ourselves that we can't own and we can't embrace and we can't love. And so the work I do is to teach people how to embrace that and just put it into your lower self, that it's not bad, it's not wrong, it just is.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So one of the exercises that I learned, Debbie Ford is amazing. She has this exercise in her book called a bus trip. And it's basically you go on a bus. It's a meditation. So it's an exercise. It's a meditation. It's a visualizing meditation. And you go on a bus and you meet aspects of yourself that you've judged and put aside and said weren't okay and are not allowed. Right? And you get to make peace with them. It's an exercise in taking it from the shadow to the lower self, so it's no longer running your life. Is that enough of an explanation? All right. So on this bus trip meditation, you get to meet aspects of yourself that you've really judged, you've really been harsh to, and consciously, unconsciously, whatever. But these are the parts of you that have been really beaten up and really like abused. You know, sometimes it's at one point it was like my teenage self was on the bus. Excuse me, I forget. She was like she was that person. She just was like, fuck you, you're not the boss of me. Like she was so angry, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just so angry. And I got to like integrate her. But this most recent time, I'm up leveling, I've upgraded. So this most recent time, every single person on the bus was like evil. Like we're talking about like Hitler and Saddam Hussein and Putin and Trump and Marcos and the dude from Argentina, the Franco. Like we are talking every evil historical figure that has ever wielded power in the world, historically speaking, right? Like Attila the Hun, like it was everybody was on this
everybody.
bus.
He's got like a club and
Right? like it was right. And you get to like you sort of sit down next to the person that's like the one open seat. And of course the one open seat was the asshole who used to be president. So of course, right? Exactly.
Well, the Hun.
Exactly. Right.
I have less personal stuff.
And that's the problem. Like if we have that visceral reaction at all, that's in our shadow. That's ours to heal.
Okay.
So of course my skin recoils when I think about the asshole who used to be president. And so of course I had to sit next to him, and now I have to decide, do I want to make peace with him or not? Do I want to make peace with the aspects of him that I clearly have in me or not?
So sorry.
You go ahead.
So you're saying if you react that viscerally to someone, there are aspects of them that's
your shadow.
Like yourself.
That's 100% truth.
Because I really don't like him, like in a lot of different ways.
I think there's a lot of us that don't, and that's what we created. So we created it. That is our collective shadow. So we get back to this point of we started on this journey of like there's nothing ever bad, right? So if we're gonna take someone like the turnip, and we all have a visceral reaction to him, his job was to bring out the shadow in us so we can heal it. In that way, he's a shadow leader, but he's a shadow leader, and he's doing his job.
Yeah, I see that. It's just when you see when you see the actual results of the human suffering that happened because of the decisions this
but we could look at Hitler. There was a before and an after. Trust me. I'm not advocating that he was a good right? No. No. But what I'm saying is that the change that happened in humanity as the result of his actions are what moved us forward. Okay.
Yeah, like that was one of the things. Like, I don't think we can say the Holocaust is okay.
No, I'm not saying that I'm not saying that. I would never say that.
Yeah,
I'm never saying that.
I know.
What I'm saying is that it changed humanity.
Yeah.
And so in our personal microcosm lives, nothing ever happened to you. It happened for you to move you forward. In the bigger macrocosm world, nothing's ever happened to us. And it's not that it was not that it wasn't bad, but it should never have happened, because it happened. And it moved humanity forward. And in fact, if it wasn't for World War II and us developing the ability to literally blow ourselves up, we wouldn't actually have the consciousness movement that we do now. It was because of that event.
This gives me shivers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's what leapt humanity eons forward, because the planet was flooded with light workers from all over the universe. They were like, "Oh my God, they're really going to blow shit up. We have to stop this."
I like it. I don't have to go down that. Nope, not going to.
No, we did. No. But
like that was my decision. Like, I'm not going to go down there. I could so easily. I'm not going to do it.
But don't do it, right? So it's like there's nothing bad. It's all just.
So you got on the bus with Trump. You sat next to him, and you had to decide. What
was I had to decide? Was I gonna embrace the aspects of me in him? What do I loathe about him? He is completely unconscious. He's so fucking self-absorbed, and he doesn't care about any, right? And also, he is basically a screaming, tantruming child.
With his finger on the button.
Okay. But he's a screaming, tantruming child.
Yes.
If I can see him as a screaming, tantruming child, I can be like, okay, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. Right? I can get there.
Okay. But yeah, no, I mean, he is completely 100% a screaming
Tantruming child.
child.
Any
He's a
dictator that's ever
narcissist.
been was a
Yeah.
giant narcissist, screaming, tantruming child.
Megalomaniac too.
Right. So if we see them as that, and then we embrace that we have that in us, we can heal it
In us.
in us, which heals it in the world. That's self-love.
Let's bring that for full circle there. Okay, so that's self-love.
Because there's no aspect of you that you can't love.
Right. Okay. So yeah,
Okay.
acknowledging the parts of yourself that you have judged and you don't deem worthy and you despise or whatever, and allowing them to be okay.
Yep.
And that's self-love. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
That so like the reason we get into the reason where there's so much anxiety, there's so much fear, there's so much depression, is that we have so much judgment aimed inward
Mhm.
that we can't actually be functional humans because there's so much leveled at us.
Yeah. Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yeah, no, it totally makes sense. I'm just thinking about, I don't even know. Like there was a lot. That was a lot.
This is next level, Jen. Like this is not an easy concept to like wrap your head around.
Right. Like subject to and seller financing.
Exactly.
Why would anyone do that?
I don't understand. Why does that work for them? How do they gain from that?
What the hell happened? Yeah, so no, but that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, because if I could have been convinced when I was in my, that in my depression that like it's okay, I couldn't have been convinced though. That's the thing. Like,
I think we all have to go through the dark night. We all have to go through that place where there's a disbelief, that there's a disconnection from everything. That's actually our initiation into the mysteries. That like we all have to go through that. Humanity right now is in its collective dark night because they're all refusing to actually embrace this concept. The shadow is so fucking up, and it's gonna just get more up until people start to wake up and embrace it. So like you couldn't have been convinced of it, and that's okay because it wasn't your time.
Right.
Right? When the student's ready, the teacher presents itself.
Exactly.
So you had to go through that darkness. It got prolonged because you didn't necessarily have the tools and resources and even ability to look up. And that's that. This is truly why I feel so strongly about doing the work I do and making it so accessible to people, affordable and whatever, because it's like when you're in survival mode, you don't have the bandwidth to look up, and that's what you need to. And so you need someone who can help you get there, right?
Yeah. I mean, and what you said is right too. Like, I didn't have the capacity.
No.
At a certain point, I didn't even have the will.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. So
all we do is plant seeds.
Right. That's all we can do.
Right.
That's all we can do. Yeah. So I hope people are learning a little bit more about how they can go inwards and find it in themselves. Or it's not even like, how do I like force myself to love myself, or how do I love myself? It's really about being okay with the stuff that you are not okay with.
Right.
Interesting.
And I mean, even simpler than that, it's just, okay, if you can't get to that place where you can love yourself and trust yourself and respect yourself, at least get to the place of like turning down the like stop beating yourself up, right? Like
Easier said than done, but yeah.
yes, it is easier said than done. And that's why I said the gratitude practice. And I don't necessarily, I'm not really talking about like, oh, I'm so grateful for like love and light and sun and like the spirituality, the McDonald's spirituality shit. I'm actually talking about like, I'm grateful for this depression. I'm grateful for this sadness. Yeah.
That's hard.
It is. It is.
For this depression. So, all right. So for people out there who may have a mood disorder or whatever, aren't mentally or emotionally well, how do you get grateful for that?
Well,
No?
how did I? No, so, let me think about that for a second. Like how did I do that? I think there was a level of first of all, there was a lot of asking for help. There was a lot of like, help me. There was a lot of prayer. Like a lot of prayer. And I think I had heard enough times people saying, you matter. Like, not necessarily people in my world, not like family. I'm not saying that, but like teachers or healers or coaches or people I followed. I had enough people say, you matter as is. That I was like, well, I don't believe them.
Yeah.
I definitely don't believe them. But if I did believe them, what would I do? I started with the curiosity of like, well, let's try this. I don't believe it. I truly do not believe I'm worth it at all. But if I did believe it, what would I do things differently?
Interesting. I'm trying to put myself in the position that I was in and hear it through those ears to see it. I'm like, I think that might have I might have been able to do that. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. Right. It was just another way to put a spoke in the wheel.
Yeah. But I honestly also believe that at a certain point, if you're not ready, you're not ready.
Absolutely. I think that's true, right? And I think that like there's a comfort level in that sadness, in the depression, in the anxiety. It's still familiar.
Yeah.
And the unfamiliar is terrifying. So it gets to be okay.
But yeah, it gets to be okay that you're scared.
Exactly. It gets to be okay that you stay, that you don't have the courage and strength to move. And that gets to be okay too.
Wow. That would be a hard one for me to.
Right.
Yeah. I'm just like, I'm thinking back and it's just like, that would have been hard for me to hear.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting.
And I think if you had a teacher or healer or coach or someone who could have said it to you, you might not have believed them. Oh, no. But it would have gone in.
I had
it's a seed that's planted.
It's a seed that's planted.
Right? At some point, someone along the way planted a seed that grew into becoming untethered. Several. Right. That's it. Right. I'm saying it takes a while. Sometimes it takes many lifetimes. Most of the time, it takes many lifetimes.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, sorry, guys.
Right. But there's a lot of like new souls on the planet right now.
It's interesting that there are new souls, but there are, because there are so many more people than there ever have been before.
Precisely.
Interesting. Maybe, sorry, no.
There's also a lot of old souls on the planet too. There's a lot of old souls on the planet doing healing work and being the light, because we've already been through it 50 million times. We're like, oh, look, we're doing this again. Oh, look how cute we are. Right?
All right. I remember this one.
All right, bring it on.
Here we go.
Sharp rocks at the bottom. Bring it on.
It's great. It's great.
Exactly.
Fabulous. Interesting. So, yeah, I'm trying to, I'm trying to find the place where I could, like, the different places where I would have spoken to me in those darker periods. Like, I'm looking for those, and and I do think that at a certain point you just, like you said, seeds, like they're just seeds.
Yeah,
Eventually they'll
absolutely.
grow.
Your soul always leaves you breadcrumbs. It always leaves you breadcrumbs home. No matter how dark and how bleak and how far down you go, there is always a breadcrumb. That's why I say, what's going right? Because that is the only way that you can let the light in.
So anybody out there who's having some issues, you're worth it. You're awesome the way you are. And if you have something to say about that, put it in the comments.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And thank you for watching. Those of you guys who are watching, thank you for watching, and
Thank you for
let us know if
watching.
it resonated. And I guarantee you some of you are like, what the fuck? You want to tell me, you want to punch me? Let's have the dialogue, because I'm
like throw punch, of course.
I mean, honestly, I've wanted to throw punch some teachers and coaches in my lifetime. So I get that. Be like, fuck you. That's not true. It's empirically not true. Fuck you. You have no idea. I've said that. I said that to my team. The Bob, who was I love Bob, and I can't work with him because he was so, but like I on the regular was like, fuck you, Bob. That's just, you have no idea.
He hit some stuff, huh?
Absolutely. And I am now sort of, his words come out of my mouth. And I could not work. I had to stop working with him because I was like so angry that, like, and he was 100% correct, but I was so ready couldn't hear it.
That's really interesting. I mean, that you had he came in there and he shook some stuff up, huh?
Absolutely. I mean, he's an older white dude, right? So I was like, you have no idea, right?
yeah about anything.
Exactly. He really does, and he's been there, and I know he's come out of it, right? But he was exactly the perfect teacher for me. He was exactly the perfect teacher for me, and my resistance was strong.
And that's another thing for people to be aware of. Like, when you react to something that viscerally,
oh yeah,
take a look.
that's yours. Whenever you react to anything, it's yours to heal. It's an invitation. It's the gentlest, most amazing, kindest form of the universe inviting you to heal what's inside of you. That's why I love it when my clients want to throat punch me. I'm like, yeah, that's really why I'm like, great, we're getting somewhere. And so, and so I get it. I totally get it.
Cool. Yeah, I've never wanted to throat punch you. I'm sorry.
Oh, damn. I need to push you a little harder then. You know what though? Your reaction, you're never going to want to throw punch me. That's not who you are. But there are times that you are like, fuck you. Like your energy's like, fuck you, stop needing. Like there is a level of like irritation.
Yeah, okay, probably. You could say that, and that's okay, Robin.
It's perfect. I love it. I welcome that. I don't take it personally.
Yeah, that's
rare that I take it personally, right? Because I've done my work.
Right.
If I take something personally, that's mine to do. That's my work.
And that's something that could be another whole subject that we talk about, not taking things personally.
that could be March, man. We could do the whole of March and not take nothing takes personally.
Seriously, we'll start doing sets of series, like don't take anything too personally.
Perfect.
Could we do something for St. Patrick's Day, right? Like,
absolutely. Oh, you want to St. Patrick's Day?
We can drink. I don't know.
we can do victim. We can do victim for all of St. Patrick's Day is the epitome of victim. The Irish, right? So like we can.
The Irish, yes. Yep. That's definitely something to. Oh, we have a lot to address with the Irish.
So, yeah.
That's what March is about. That's what March is about. All right. So I think this is a good place. You have to go pick up Lily, and it's just 2 minutes till you have to do that. So we'll just say goodbye, everybody. Thank you so much. And honestly, guys, as always, although I really haven't said this much, like questions. We would love to see questions. You know, anything that you have confusion about, you want an answer to, whatever, comment, whatever you're going to do. And those of you who are watching, thank you so much for watching. We hope you tune in next week as well, when we will have something more wonderful and brilliant to say. And yeah, that's it. That's all I have.
All right. That's all I got. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.